If you're ready for another video essay on the animated movie Anastasia, then stay tuned. I'm about to cover the really awkward ending of this movie. Hello, family members. Welcome to the Fangirl. I'm McGann, your hostess with the mostest, and as you already heard, I'm covering Anastasia today. And if you've never seen this movie before, you are sincerely missing out. The animation is just drop-dead gorgeous, and sincerely, it was like light years ahead of what Disney was visually producing at the time. Don Bluth really never gets enough credit for just how good his movies are. Land Before Time, American Tail, Trolled in Central Park, Anastasia, Titan AE, which was fantastically phenomenal. Really, if you have never seen a Don Bluth movie, you need to go find one and watch it immediately. But to oversimplify the movie Anastasia, it's about a young orphan girl named Anya who is trying to figure out if she's a random nobody or really the Grand Duchess Anastasia who's been missing for years. Of course, it turns out that she is the missing Anastasia, but spoiler warning, the movie ends with Anastasia being reunited with her grandmama in Paris, then just up and taking off without a word with this cute guy named Dimitri, who actually helped Anastasia get from St. Petersburg to Paris. And even though Anastasia does have some little thump-thump feelings for Dimitri, she only really goes after him at the behest of her grandmother. Okay, maybe it wasn't an outright demand, but she is the Dowager Empress, and she does nudge at Anastasia by saying that, well, they've already found each other, so they'll always have each other, and that maybe this world of glitz and glitter isn't what Anastasia actually wants. Then the ending is kind of open-ended because Anastasia just leaves a letter that basically says, going to elope, bye-bye. And there's really no ill will from the grandmother, and it's very loosely implied that Anastasia can come back and visit anytime she wants. However, I recently got to see the stage play Anastasia, and it really made me look at the ending of the movie in a totally different light. Basically, and spoilers here for the stage play, Anastasia still runs off to be with Dimitri, but then the grandmother makes this big speech to the public that she doesn't think she'll ever see that imposter girl again, and how the reward money for Anastasia's return will now be donated to charity. Now, granted, I'm always the first to argue that the movie and the book, or in this case play, are not really set in the same universe, so the answers in one would not account for the plot holes in the other. And I still believe that's true here, especially since in the movie the main villain is Rasputin, and in the play it's the Russian government. But the theatrical adaptation of the movie really made me see the end of the film with a totally different set of eyes. If you pay close attention, even though Anastasia gets recognized by the Dowager Empress, and she gets that absolutely amazing dress with the tiara and all that, animated Anastasia actually never reveals herself to the public. She ends up taking off before the big party happens, which would surely turn into a huge press release. So technically, other than the four characters who interacted with Anastasia, nobody else knows that she resurfaced or that she didn't die back in, 1912? And as a kid watching this movie, that intent just soared right over my head. But I can see now that what the animated movie was attempting to do was create a scenario where Anastasia could live happily ever after, while also adhering to the historical fact that she had never been found. Well, actually, I did a video recent-ishly about how the real-life Anastasia was really used as a bunch of government propaganda, but you can watch that if you're interested on your own. However, I can appreciate that the animated movie wants to stay realistic-ish by not completely rewriting history and saying, here's the Grand Duchess, she's been alive this whole time, huzzah! So, canonically, in the movie, the Dowager Empress never announces that Anastasia has been located, which does mean that Anastasia running away to elope with Dmitri is a really, really awkward ending. By the terms of the movie, the real, true threat to Anastasia's safety was Rasputin, not the Russian government. But then Rasputin gets vanquished, and there's no one left who wants to harm Anastasia, so she could and should be able to live openly as the missing Grand Duchess now. So why does her marriage suddenly mean that she can't live with or near her grandmother? Dmitri seems to have no family of his own, and his only friend is Vlad, who the end of the movie doesn't even deal with. We don't know what happened to him. Did he have a good life? Did he stay in Paris with Sophie? Alive or dead? Who knows? But Dmitri is a party of one, and Anya is from an orphanage with nobody left to care about her. And even if she openly becomes the Grand Duchess Anastasia, all the rest of her family is dead except for one very aged grandmother who, at best, has a few years left in her life. Why would you just toss out the one connection you have left to know your entire family and life history to go get married? Granted, this movie is set in 1927, I believe, so maybe the mentality is that your lot in life is whatever your husband can afford. So if a Grand Duchess marries a commoner, perhaps she loses her title and inheritance. I don't know exactly what the details are, but I don't think there's anything in Russian or French culture that says you can't keep in touch with your relatives once you get married. I mean, sure, get married, certainly go on your honeymoon, but then what? Are they gonna sneak back into Russia with forged documents and then break into the palace to live there miserably and poor for the rest of their days? I know people love to say money can't buy happiness, but you know what it does buy? Food, clothing, and shelter, which are all things I need to be happy. Love doesn't keep your baby from starving to death, and it doesn't keep you from working hard labor jobs for meager wages that you still can't survive on. So people who say it's better to marry for love than money have never been poor in 1920s Russia. And similarly, the Dowager Empress is this lonely old woman with nobody but her cousin to keep her company. Wouldn't it make her thrilled to keep Anastasia close and see her great-grandchildren come into the world? I logically cannot see any scenario where Grandmama would be anything but welcoming as long as her last grandchild was nearby and safe. So in terms of storytelling, I really don't understand why this brand new couple just forsakes everything when they've already had this life of twisted up turmoil. Again, I know historical accuracy is playing a huge part in this, but even if they never went public with Anya's real identity, if the Dowager Empress just sort of adopted this little family and made them her heirs, is there anyone who would really argue with her? I mean, Anastasia could still live in relative obscurity and be near her grandmother. And even if some nosy reporter came in and said something like, hey, that Anya girl looks a lot like the missing Anastasia, so what? It could either be a thing that stays an unconfirmed rumor forever, or Anya could take on the role at any time she wants. And just for as much as I adore Don Bluth and his movies, the ending of Anastasia just never sits right with me. Most of the fairy tale movies end at the wedding or at true love's first kiss, but for a movie that is so well detailed and thought out otherwise, I feel like the ending could have been written better. I mean, even if we don't see Anya and Dmitri return to the grandmother, or we don't see them 10 years down the line, or whatever, the Dowager Empress still could have said something like, oh, get the guest room ready for their return, or something. Give the audience at least some implication that Anastasia is going to have a rich, healthy family life. And I don't even mean rich like in money, I mean rich as in just, being with your family and enjoying it. But what do you guys think? Was the ending of Anastasia solid for you, or was it more lacking and a bit unfulfilling like it was for me? I might be overthinking it, but that's literally my job. Dancing bears, painted wings, things I almost remember, and a song someone sings once upon a December. Someone holds me safe and warm. Horses prance through a silver storm. Figures dancing gracefully across my memory. Far away, long ago. Man, I don't have the air power for this anymore. Glowing dim as an ember, things my heart used to know, things it yearns to remember. No, I'm kind of losing track of it. It's been so long since I've heard the song. Whew, I do not have the diaphragm to keep at this. Now I'm gonna hack and wheeze and die. It's just slowly over in the corner, because I tried to sing Once Upon a December. The other song is so much easier. Heart, don't fail me now. Courage, don't desert me. Don't turn back now that we're here. Yeah, I don't have the diaphragm for that either. I hope you enjoyed your derps today, guys. Bye. Huzzah! 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 So, well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that? Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Family. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Family and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos like you helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members. Bye.